Hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in to All About Blockchain webinar, wherein we invite leaders from the blockchain and crypto industry to share their valuable thoughts and insights on industry relevant topics. Today, we are here to discuss an exciting topic with you all, that is blockchain and automation, a perfect match. The blockchain ecosystem is evolving rapidly with an array of decentralized apps, or otherwise known as dApps, making its way into the ecosystem. With so many new dApps evolving, there's a constant need for automated services to make operations cost effective and time efficient. Today, we have one very special guest with us who will be speaking with us on this topic. So, first, let me introduce our speaker for today. That is Samyak Kothari, who is Manager Operations and Strategy at Liminal. He's CA and a personal finance coach. Hi, Samyak.
Hey, hi, Akanksha. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Samyak. Now, I would also like to introduce our very special guest that we have today. That is Shantnoo. So, Shantnoo,
Hi,
hi,
Akansha.
Shantanu.
Hi,
Hi.
thank you very much for inviting me. Hello, Samyak. How are you?
I'm good, Shantanu. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you both.
Shantu has over 7 years of experience in the blockchain space and is the founder of Encryptus. So I would like to give this platform to you both, and if you can give us a brief introduction about yourselves.
Shantanu,
Sure.
do you want to go ahead?
Oh, okay, sure. Thank you very much. That's perfect, Samyak. Hello, everybody. My name is Shantnoo, and my background is payments and cryptos. I I did payments to similar instruments and similar companies to instant money, which effectively today is like Bitcoin movement of value from one peer to another, and between one peer on one part of the world and on the other side you have another peer who is receiving the funds, and that's how I learned the basics of money. And luckily for me, it was in a very regulated and in a compliant environment. uh, Got into cryptos in 2016 with a then startup called as BitPesa, and we ended up engineering one of the first regulated models between bitcoins and money transfers. That was just the beginning, and then I ended up working and advising companies like Huobi, Pexful, Mixbit Digital, etc. And currently, I'm an advisor to L Bank, and most importantly, I'm the founder of Encryptus. Encryptus initially started as an advisory, but today Encryptus is looking at licensing and regulations in the crypto space in different parts of the world. So we have three licensed entities today, one in the UAE, one in Europe, and one in Asia Pacific. The one in Asia Pacific, uh, we are just not getting into the details of this company, but really the objective for us is to build regulated, compliant, and controlled environments between fiat and crypto. And that is what we have been doing. We are not just looking at building the services and the ecosystem for us, but also to share the ecosystem and services with everybody else, with our friends in the crypto environment. So that's a long brief about me, Samir.
Thanks, Shantanu. I think it's quite exciting to hear the number of things you have done in the crypto space, and I think that's actually commendable, and that's why you have like a lot of experience in advisory in building crypto companies, so as to say. So I think my background is a little different from yours. I finished my studies in 2016, that is my chartered accountancy, and then on went to do CFA. I'm a charter holder. I have been into the risk and finance domain all my life before joining Liminal. So
Mhm.
5 6 years I've been in in the finance domain. I've worked with the likes of JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank, and from then on I started to work with Liminal in their operations and strategy team. So for me, the space was pretty new when I joined, but it's so evolving that there is so much to learn every day into what's happening, be it related to hacks, be it related to securing your assets, or be it how an exchange model works, right? So for me, the learning curves have been pretty steep since I joined Liminal, and that's what I always wanted, because I felt that when you work for like an MNC, you are quite specialized in the domain which you're working, right? And that's where maybe your growth in the same particular domain may be excellent, but as a
Right.
generalist you need to have that entire range which lacks when you're working for a a proper MNC or a quite an established firm. So that's what I got here at Liminal. I went on to learn legal, marketing, sales, strategy, and all those stuff.
Right.
And right now I'm sitting here and taking a webinar with you, which is like first for me. So glad to have you as one of the guest speakers, and really excited to learn from your journey.
No, thank you very much. Pleasure is all mine, and it's always good to have fresh talent because, on one side, I'm very impressed, and I like the approach. Like you said, you're here to learn, and personally, I enjoy interacting with people who say that they're here to learn in this industry because I don't feel that there is any experts out there. It's all about what you learn and what you implement really makes a difference. So, no, that's
Right.
one. That's great stuff from you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And obviously, it's been a great journey, so as to say, because as I said, the amount of learning, and obviously, Maheen and everyone who have been OGs in this space, right? They also have a lot to give to everyone in the company. So yeah, the learning curve's pretty steep. So Shantanu, your journey obviously has been great, and Encryptus since its launch has been on a great trajectory, right? So, what's your vision, and what there are exchanges, there are DeFi projects, there are treasuries, etc. But what was your vision behind starting Encryptus as an OTC desk, so as to say?
Great. Very good question because a lot of people I meet, everybody asks me what is it that we are doing, but nobody tries to get to the part like why are we doing. But this is how I always start all the conversations. So, as you know, like I did mention briefly, my background is payments. I did payments for over 8 years back in the UK and Europe, and then cryptos since 2016. What I've always believed is we have two types of crypto companies out there. Who is completely against banks, regulations, authorities, etc. And on the other side, we have got very compliant companies who are trying to bring a very nice ecosystems together. So after having worked in the crypto space for over 6 years, I just felt, why don't I start with an advisory? But of course, and that's how initially we started. I registered an advisory back in the UK again with the same name, Encryptus. But of course, it was always there at the back of my mind, like what is the use case for cryptos? So in 2017, I never launched this project because I never believed in the whole idea of ICOs, and plus for some reason I want to do modern business, but with a bit of a traditional outlook. And when I say traditional, I mean to say compliances, regulations, thinking about the people, what products are we offering, how is it useful, how is it not useful for our users. And that was the whole idea behind starting Encryptus. Because when I was trying to use services of a lot of OTC crypto to fiat companies, I realized that either those desks are not properly configured, which means that if I as a user go to them and I want to be onboarded, it would take me anywhere between 2 weeks to 30, 40, 50 days. And I mean, I still have examples of some known companies, even with proper documentation, either A, because of the people who are managing the case probably it's already been like 5 months and we are still not onboarded with them. But all of the challenges actually teaches you it builds your experience, and this is what I was doing in the past 5 6 years. I was building experiences with different parts of with different crypto companies, be DeFi, the most modern one, or be it be GameFi, let it be exchanges, OTC desk, etc. What I understood really all of during this time is there is a lack of automation in an industry that works on technology. And we thought, why don't we automate a lot of important functions for the users so that right from onboarding, which stays compliant, the the end user journey becomes very easy. The second thing is simplicity. I always believed in the Google strategy, and I'm a big Google fan, not just because of the products that they have, but the way they simplified the search for us. And now what we are seeing today is the byproducts within Google, and they have created a beautiful ecosystems out there. But in the crypto space, being a user, if I am trying to get onto a new crypto company and trying to use their services, most of the times I do struggle. And I always think like, what happens to the new users? What happens if somebody who is new to cryptos and they are trying to buy or sell cryptos against fiat? So that was another point. But the most important thing I always had in my mind is either we meet a lot of crypto people who are completely against regulations or who are completely against central banks. You'll see such people ranting about how bad the banking systems are. And on the other, you have got very compliant crypto companies who are trying to scale up the business by bringing value to the whole ecosystem. We belong to the category of the companies who believe in compliances and regulations. Without naming the company, well, I don't think this is a relevant example here, but while talking to a lot of companies, I realized that the potential in the crypto business is for companies who are fully compliant and regulated. We are in a bootstrap mode. I started with my own money, and really the objective was to get licenses in different jurisdictions. So today, as we speak, we are licensed in the UAE, we are licensed in Europe for crypto activities, and one of the countries also in the Far East, because we feel that if cryptos have to go or become big, it has to be only with licensing and regulations. Yeah, when we was trying to build, when we started building Encryptus, we started completely, as I said, on a at a bootstrap mode, and I ended up meeting Mahin from Liminal back then, and the team, of course. We ended up meeting the team at TRM. Uh, what we were complimented initially, and even now we get compliments, is for a startup to look at coin monitoring and custody on day one when they start the services is generally not considered to be very common. Any business that it's very clear as a message to our team. Anything that is non-compliant or something that we do not agree to will not be processed through our platform, no matter what the amount is, because the direction for us is not we are not a token project. We are here to build an ecosystem, and we are here to sell modern products, modern services that is liked by today's investors, but with traditional outlook. That is, even we today call up our clients, we speak to them. We do not conduct any businesses just on the platform. It's not a retail product really. Therefore, it's difficult to sell. It's difficult to bring in people on the day one. But as the word will spread about the encrypted services and how deep liquidity we have on the fiat side and as well as on the crypto side, I think automatically it will bring in good users to us. And when I say good, I mean to say it's a desk for anybody who can do proper compliances on the traditional compliances and on the modern compliances, which is on the coin monitoring side, the wallet side, etc. And most importantly, I know it's been a long answer.
What's Can you just say differ between what is traditional and modern compliance for our viewers?
Well, in my personal opinion, again, don't quote me on this, but I feel traditional compliances is more to do not just with the user's passport copies, is what you do checks, but you get into further details about identifying the risk that you may have, like whether the user is PEPT or not, is sanctioned or not, who are their family members, who is the ultimate beneficiary owner who is going to be dealing with you. I think that is something that any company must get into before doing a transaction on the crypto side, and that's what we do. So this is more on the traditional side, but on the modern side is the coin monitoring. For example, the custody part of the business is more on the modern terms, right? There are no physical vaults out there where their coins are stored. But of course, we'll of course discuss about the liminal solutions as well, and providers like you, how they are making it safe and secure using multi-sig uh, and automation and wherever it is required, a safe environment for the users. So in my personal opinion, that is more of a modern business, screening wallets, finding out about the chain hops, etc., and making sure that the coins that you are dealing with are completely clean. So that is the ambition. And just quickly, Samir, on the same point is we are not selling the world of coins to our users. So I think this is where crypto companies, they don't have to be clever. They just have to understand the users better. So we don't sell all the coins in the world. We just focus on BTC, ETH, USDT, USDC, and Matic. And on the fiat side, as I said, we deal in GBP, Euro, and USD as of day to day, and many more fiats to come. Simply to offer a very simple ecosystem. Uh, we are a company that's doing just the basics right, in my personal opinion. I'm not a blockchain expert, but I have common sense, and it's a company built on common sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Actually, the more you keep things simple, the more it's easy to for you to build. And you have been kind of focusing a lot on compliance, getting more licenses. Why is it so, important to be compliant in this? I would say domain, especially like digital assets, cryptocurrencies, and why is it so difficult to get those licenses only across regions? So that you make sure that you're compliant, because whenever we talk about compliance, there is an element of licenses which you covered. So why are these two things more important and complementary to each other?
I think it's a foundation. In my personal opinion, it's a foundation for any company that deals in any instrument which has a value. Even if this water has some value today, and it can be exchanged for goods or services, I think it's very, very important. And we as a company, and not just us as a company, but anybody who deals in cryptos, actually, they have a very, very important role to play. We should be very careful as to what tokens are we selling. Are we making sure that anything that is coming and we are touching in our wallets, is it clean or not? So these are some basic principles, and just going back a little deeper. By the way, if you want to interject me or ask me any
Sure, sure,
question,
sure.
just feel free. I think what also is very, very important is it's an instrument which has a value. It's an instrument that users are exposed to, and you need one small thing to go wrong for them to lose their life earnings. We saw what happened with Luna not long ago, and
Yeah.
how millions of people lost billions of dollars. 8 people lost their lives, and there are many Lunas out there. As a crypto company, we have to be safe of not just this one project, but hundreds and thousands of other projects which are out there in the market, and trying to just get users to buy their tokens and then do what? I'm sorry, I just get a little carried away generally
Right,
with
right,
topics,
right.
but that is the reality actually.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I agree that you have to maybe be compliant, have licenses, and obviously make things secure in a way you understand. So totally agree with you. Coming on to the point which you also I think highlighted, how does or how has Liminal helped you in making your processes, making your custody solutions, making your wallet operations more secure and obviously automated?
Great question. I think first and foremost, I would say, there is a small problem, Samyak, in our crypto industry. And the problem is we try to do everything by ourselves. We always try to think wallet, this is a solution we can provide. Exchange, we can provide. Fiat, we can provide. Liquidity, we can provide. Market making, we can provide. But is that the reality? That's not reality. And every company has, there are different ways under which we should scale up, because looks like every crypto company is thinking that they are the best and they don't need to use other crypto company as friends. But I feel that of course, we are a very small industry, but we also have to be realistic that we cannot build everything. And that is the whole idea. When we first heard about the liminal solution, we were very impressed. Even somebody like me, who is not an expert in the wallet solutions, or I should say, I was not an expert in the wallet solutions, but we understand how the users' cryptos are to be dealt with. Of course, as exchanges, we have cold wallets, hot wallets, and warm wallets. When we understood like how liminal as a solution is helping us, that is right from the time when a user gets a wallet address of ours where they are depositing money, how cryptos first move into a quarantine wallet, and from the quarantine wallet we can automate, and certain aspects we can keep manual. Right from cold wallets to warm wallets to hot wallets is exceptionally good in our opinion. B, it gives confidence to the users as well. Because even at a country level, a company level, we were very easily able to implement the multi-sig functionality. So I can decide, the company can decide how would the cryptos be flowing out. Is it 3 on 5, 1 on 5, 2 on 2, 3 on 3? That is the beauty, I think, of the liminal solution. The way it can be configured uh, in a way to provide more transparency and more control to the users is something that we were very confident of. And I think I should also highlight the most important factor is the team. There are plenty of solutions out there, but I believe that companies and solutions which are transparent and honest, the support we got from the team, right from the integrations to the operations, the BD team, uh, was excellent. And that is all what we need. And I hope you guys continue this. It shouldn't be a startup story, but it should be a long term story. But this is purely our
Absolutely.
experience with
Yeah,
Liminal so far. Mahin personally came back, suggested us a lot of improvements that we can do on our side, and vice versa. Our team also, since we started working right from the initial days, we give constant feedbacks about improvements and certain aspects that can be better for not just for us but for everybody out there in the market.
absolutely. So one thing I totally agree with you is our operational part, because we want to make sure that the client or the tech team who's integrating, they get absolute support from us in terms of, whether we want to recommend an infrastructure or an architecture, or to make things smooth for you, whether setting up, onboarding you. So that's maybe, I would say, our niche or our forte, where we, having an exchange background, know the difficulties that a client would face while integrating, while setting up a wallet. And I
Right.
think that's where we kind of help the clients get onboarded very smoothly. How
Absolutely.
how
And, sorry, can I add one very interesting point? Maybe it will
Sure.
also be useful for you, for users. We were doing an application not long ago. I think within this week, and there was the bank asked us a question about the wallet solutions that we have, and all literally we did is we told them what and how we are using the liminal services, and the answer was well accepted. I'm not saying like to get a bank account you should say that,
Yeah.
but you have to believe and implement in practice and understand how we are keeping the users assets safe on the platform. At the end of the day, it's not ours, it belongs to the
Yes.
users.
Yes. Glad it helped. How important do you think insurance plays a role here? Because a lot of assets which are online, right, especially the hot wallet side, right, have a very
Right.
high chance of getting maybe hacked or stolen, right? So how important do you think insurance plays a role?
I think insurance is really, and I like to be frank and brutal about everything that I discussed. I'm trying to, okay, so on the positive side, I think it's a great initiative. It's brilliant, especially, if somebody is trusting your services, you're also trying to make sure that things can be managed well if something has to go wrong. But also I think what we really need to understand is on the downside is the fine prints. That is not something I'm really clear about. That God forbid if things go wrong, up to what value and how are uh, we up to what level are we going to be safe and secure? Is it going to be
Correct.
people who have the highest value, they are taken care of first, and people with the medium and low value comes later? These fine prints is something that we have to get better at. But in general, I feel it's a great initiative and purposely very, very, very well implemented and done from the day one, I feel.
Understood. Understood. So now coming a little back to your personal life, Shantanu, you've had some really key positions in a lot of companies over your past work experience. How
Right.
has that also helped you in building Encryptus in some way or the other? And maybe what were your biggest learnings? Maybe you would have had a mentor, or maybe you would have learned things on your own. But how has all those things in the past which you have done helped you in building and bringing Encryptus to what it is today?
Great question. I mean, I'm trying to think. A is a mentor. You always need mentor, and it doesn't have to be a mentor. Has to be from an industry where you come from. The mentor could be somebody not from your industry, but imagine they teach you more about dealing with people management. I think that is the most difficult job in today's time. But yes, I've been fortunate enough to be working with companies, with projects, with individuals uh, who of course were and are still more learned than me. um, but the always, what if we keep our vision to stay hungry about knowledge and gaining from their experiences, is what I kept doing all this while. I'm still doing. I still, even not just only from people who are more experienced, I learn from them. I also learn a lot from people who are probably new, who are just getting into the professional world. So it depends. What is it? What's a definition of learning for a person is? I think personally, all I really focused all this while was the right opportunity. Because when I look back, I had this idea of building crypto to fiat, and I still have got all the white papers and everything ready from 2017. How cryptos can be used in the real life in a regulated. Well, I can't use the word regulated back then because nothing was clear. But I had all of the plans with me. But as I said, I did not believe in ICOs. I did not do an ICO myself. Uh, but this is a great opportunity because this time, not just I have learned through through the gaps, because this is where the really learning happens, is having worked for a crypto to fiat company, having worked for exchanges, having worked and dealt with P2P platforms, having dealt with traditional companies who got into cryptos. I think it really gave me an outlook how cryptos are looked at in different sectors, in different industry within crypto industry, right? With different crypto products within crypto industries, I should is what I should say. And so by so this has really helped us to identify the gaps. And as I keep saying, we are a company based on common sense, and we are doing everything possible to make sure with the right approach we are able to bring more transparency and crypto adoption to institutions within cryptos. Of course, I made mistakes, and the important part is I learned from those mistakes. I learned what to do and what not to do, or what better I could have done. And as you know, learning is an ongoing exercise. So I'm hopeful that today, before the time we'll end this call, I learned something new from you today.
Oh, I hope so too. I hope I can like give some input from my end which might help you. But just you've been focusing on you have never come up with an ICO and you don't believe in that. Uh, why is it so? Like, what's wrong with getting an ICO?
Well, there's nothing wrong. I think it's the personal definition of how you define ICOs. I feel if somebody is investing in our company, I want to bring them value uh, in assets. For example, the assets I own, the IPs that we'll own, the licenses we hold. It has a value today, right? If I buy a token
Absolutely.
today, let's say I buy ABC token. Imagine if I would have invested in Luna, and Luna went here and it's not there. And as I was mentioning some time back, there are plenty of lunas out there, but we have to be careful. The other thing is, what return am I giving to my investors? Is it pump and dump that is going to happen on my token, or there is a long term plan with which we can survive? I mean, look at the history. I don't have to say much other than Bitcoin and Ethereum being number one and number two. The right from number three, I think in 2017 we had around 1700 tokens, if I'm not wrong, and now we have around 19-20,000 tokens. What has changed? Only those two have remained as top two. Where are the rest?
Right. Right.
So I don't have to say much. Like, I believe I'm a numbers person. I believe in numbers, and the numbers don't match up in simple terms. So the other problem is crypto companies are, again, without naming anybody, I know companies who were using the name DeFi as their DeFi company. It changed to NFT, and today they are a Web3 company. We That is not our approach. I was recently suggested by somebody, like, why don't it's cool to be called as Web3, and why is it like Encryptus doesn't look at Web3? We are not Web3. The reality is the crypto industry is just trying to build, like we have finished half built buildings. Is that what we are supposed to do as you know? That's not the purpose. At least we have. So there's nothing wrong with ICOs. I think it's also with your individual nature. It's your belief. It's your how should you say? There is a value system what everybody has. So doesn't
Right.
gel with my value system, but doesn't mean that I don't invest money in altcoins. I do, but it has to be a project, something like Polygon, etc. My personal favorite, of course, Ethereum, where I personally put down my money. It's not an investment advice, but yeah.
Absolutely. So I think what you're trying to say here, Shantanu, is more on creating value for your own clients, your investors, which maybe you don't think is the right way to do it via an ICO, but you want to maybe create value in some other way through making your product more better, more secured, and having those when it comes to OTC desk, transaction settlement is the fastest which you need, right? So maybe in those kind of things, you're trying to create more value rather than going into the entire ICO game, which might in some way divert you from your original goal or as to where you want to take Encryptus to. If I can like sum it up in a better way.
Actually, you've got it right, and exactly that's the whole purpose. And I'm, as of day to day, on our roadmap, launching our token is not even a plan. We can go with our licenses, with what we have built, with what volumes we are doing, decent enough. I mean, very small still. We can easily raise few $1 million. But and on PDFs, I've seen company raising few millions. But that's not the direction we have taken. We will be attracting serious investors, but somebody who believes in the idea of building an ecosystem. Not today we are selling this, tomorrow we sell something else. So we will continue to be a crypto to fiat and fiat to crypto business.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So I'll touch upon 2 points which you spoke right now.
Sure.
One is the volumes game, and the second one is the valuation thing. So valuation, maybe I'll keep it for later. There are thousands or maybe millions of transactions happening on the blockchain, every
Right.
minute now. So how do you keep the entire ecosystem, secure, right? The one way is maybe you're compliant, you're regulated, your systems are in place. But other
Right.
than that, how do you keep the entire transaction secure? How do you keep your assets more secured?
Perfect. So, of course, as I was mentioning before, we are fully integrated with the Liminal solutions, which means right from the time when a user deposits crypto into our wallets, it goes to a quarantine wallet. Now, the objective of quarantine wallets is not to make the coins like only if the coins are dirty, basically, it will not move into our other hot or cold wallets and make those wallets dirty. So this is something the for level one defense that we have for users who have onboarded with us, which means that we exactly know that the coins are clean. Of course, on anything that comes into our ecosystem is again checked by our softwares. As I said, we use TRM Labs for coin monitoring and wallet management services, wallet check services. Again, we check and make sure that the coins are clean and clear. This is in addition to the enhanced due diligence. ADD is what we do on every user who wants to transact or who wants to use the Encryptus services, which means not just do they have to give some declarations on PEP, sanctions, etc., but also about their criminal record, also about any wrongdoings of any founders of their company or any directors of the company, no third party transfers, etc., is what we make sure is done seriously. And of course, the relevant documentation, ID proofs, etc., are taken to make sure that we are dealing with the right users. We just do not deal with users if they have submitted their application doesn't mean that they will straight away get access. We verify their records. We speak to our clients only when we are fully secure. In certain cases where we cannot meet the clients, they are not in the country, we do a video call with them. So these are some basic principles that we are following to make sure that we understand who we are speaking to. Of course, I told you about how the cryptos are coming in and going out. On the going out system, we have got again integrated with the liminal services, which gives us the multi-sig facility as well. At the end of the day, I'm not saying to anybody that you should trust me or my colleagues, but within the company, we have X number of people approve the transaction, only then it goes out from our ecosystem, which means that there is an added security added onto the user funds and of course our funds as well. Um, the other aspect of the business is we do not offer wallets to the customers who are buying cryptos from us. Um, I always thought, why is it like, we keep calling this industry as a decentralized industry, but are we truly decentralized? Because every crypto company wants that the user must deposit the crypto in their wallets, and the
Right.
wallets are centralized at the end of the day. So how is it decentralized? If something goes wrong today with one exchange, all the users will, or they end up losing all their coins. So we thought, why do we have to offer wallets to our users? We can easily offer it through you guys, right? But we thought, let the users bring their own wallet. They have to whitelist the wallets not via emails but on the system. They have to add the wallets. The As soon as the user adds their wallet, we check against the records on TRM labs, and only if they're clean the wallets are added. So these are
Okay.
some basic things we are doing to make sure that anything in and out from the ecosystem is clean. And of course, there is enhanced due diligence on the fiat side as well. No third party transfers in and out. These are some basic principles that we are following to make sure that customers have access to clean coins and clean funds all the time. And we are
I
doing
think.
all the important part for them, right, in terms of compliance.
Oh, absolutely. So I think you touched upon a very important point here, which is the keys, right? You have to own your keys if you want to secure your wallet. If your wallet is with any centralized exchange or with any centralized custody player, then it does not make sense even to have like a wallet which where you don't owe the keys, right? And that's where I think Liminal also helps, because here we want to make sure, and we make sure that almost all the keys are owned by the client itself and we don't own any key. And
Correct.
that's where the concept of not your keys not your coins comes in. So I
Yes.
think that makes total sense of in what you're doing, and obviously TRM labs who helps you with all the AML KYC stuff, etc.
Well, they
uh,
help us only with coin monitoring, but for AML and
yeah.
KYC, we use another partner.
All right.
So
All
again,
right.
we are integrated with multiple companies at the back end to make sure it's not one company who takes care of everything. So that's another
Understood.
company that we use here.
Understood. Understood. In all these cases, obviously there is a lot of automation that is happening. Maybe automation via smart contracts or automation via smart refill wallets or anything like that. So, do you think automation makes the system more secured, or it might have a lot of maybe a bit of loopholes which can be taken, advantage of, which may be showing a vulnerability in any sense whatsoever?
Great. As I was telling you about 10, 15 minutes back, this is again a common sense thing that, and internally as well with our teams, we debated a lot on this point when we were building up. So, in our system, what we have done, for everything, there is a maker and checker function. Even
Understood.
if a bank account has to be approved, it's not one person who can approve a bank account for the user. So imagine I'm a user and I want to receive money into my USD bank account or Euro bank account. And as a user, when I add my bank account, the backend system gets a prompt, and then two people within the company, they must approve that it's the same person who is receiving the funds. Of course, I mean, I'll not get into the details because there are quite a few criteria that we have. um, Once that is done, the bank account, something as simple as adding a bank account, is done like this. So you can imagine about the rest of the functionalities. Um, in our personal opinion, there's always a question whether you want to be the fastest company or the safest company. Our
Right.
option is we don't want to be the fastest company. We are probably, actually, there's no harm in saying that we are slower than a lot of companies out there in the market, but we believe that our users are more important, their funds are more important rather than us being fast and losing their funds. So automation is great to a larger extent, but at a micro level, when you're trying to deal with high value transactions, it's not a great sign in our
Understood.
personal opinion.
Yeah,
Every company
agreed.
has a philosophy. This is our philosophy. So we
Agreed.
are
Agreed.
not for people who want speed. I got my cryptos within 30 seconds, because if you got your cryptos in 30 seconds, you can lose your cryptos in less than 5 seconds.
Understood.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So I can maybe use a metaphor here where, like when you log into a bank account, right? You have a login ID and you have a transaction password, like login ID password, then a transaction password. So I think this is also something which you were referring to when you're giving that bank account example, which maybe makes the transaction more secure. But does that make you sense?
Well, at a user level, even though a user logs into their bank account, but we have got more than 2FA. It's called as 3FA, and we have
Hmm.
some additional parameters as well that the user has to qualify and activate within the platform to get access to those parameters as well, which means that only if those parameters are met. And we are also trying to make sure, imagine if a user today loses their password and let's say their mobile phone, there are still
Hmm.
going to be other areas where there might be some sort of vulnerability. So that is what we are trying to tackle.
Understood.
So I hope I've answered your question
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. Agreed. Agreed. I just had one last question. After that, we can take one or two questions which we have got from our viewers as well.
Mhm.
So, last question, I said I wanted to touch upon volumes and valuation, right? And you touched upon valuation that, if you want to raise today, you can raise millions of dollars, but you don't want. And you have kept everything bootstrapped till now, right? And a lot of founders or co founders, they agree to this approach that as much as you keep the things bootstrapped, it makes a lot of sense because you have the entire ownership. You don't have to you are not answerable to any investors or whatsoever. But do you think right now, all the entire game maybe of valuation which you spoke about, or creating value has two different meanings according to me. Like if you want to create value, then you shouldn't run after the valuation game. And if you are running after the valuation game, to some extent maybe you cannot create value. So what's your take on that?
Well, my take is very simple. A company has to be profitable at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Volumes, users, in my, again, I believe in the bottom line. The bottom line is profitable. Are you
Right.
profitable or not? Somebody asked me a question last week, not long ago, and said, this company can do this company can do that. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question you asked about valuation versus volume, like what's really happening. Uh, in my very simple and humble opinion, I think a company has to be profitable. There's no use of doing crazy amount of volumes and crazy amount of users if you have, and if you're not profitable. A lot of times I hear this argument, okay, we will make money tomorrow, but that's not how the world of finance works, in my opinion. I feel that if you have taken money from somebody, if you have invested money from your pocket, the answer always have to be: would you deal with investors' money the same way you would be dealing with your money? And if the answer is yes to any of those things, or if you believe in it, I think people have to be. A very simple example is, when we are in bull market, companies are raising money. Uh, I did try to hire people, but honestly speaking, I couldn't afford a lot of people because they were asking for crazy salaries. And as soon as the crypto price went down, a lot of people lost their job. The market was stable. And I know that this cycle will again come back, wherein when there is a bull run, these companies will try to attract the talent who disowned, the people some time back. To come back to your question, I think you have to be profitable, and then of course you need to have a ready product. If there is no use of having a crazy business idea but being unable to implement. I've seen companies raising money on PDFs, and I'm shocked. Like, what is happening? Is it like investors are thinking they are missing something, or they know whatever happens, if our name comes in, there will be a lot of other investors, and at the end of the day, I don't know what exactly their mindset is. Of course, I don't want to share because everybody has a strategy, but I believe in serious investors who are long term. If we are here to build an ecosystem, if we are in pump and dump, there are better ways of utilizing your funds, make money or lose money.
Absolutely. So excellent analogy again, right? You have to be profitable. If you aren't, then maybe it doesn't make sense to even start raising funds. But you have to
And
have
bro,
skin
how
in the
long?
game. Yeah.
Correct. And bro, how long? I always have this question about a lot of companies from India, specifically Indian exchanges, who were giving crazy amount of rewards for the users to join in. And I ended up meeting recently somebody in India. I was shocked to hear about the average ticket size that a retail user was bringing. Under no circumstances can the company could have even or can even recover the money that they even paid for the user to join in for the value that they are bringing. So we must
Understood.
define who those users are and whose money are we burning at the end of the day.
Right.
It's not your money. So
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
that's the reality.
Probably doesn't make sense to do millions or billions in volume if you're spending 2x, 3x in marketing and getting more users on board, because net you're anyways going to be a loss making company, right?
Correct.
So,
And you think about it. If a customer cannot pay you, if a customer cannot pay you for the fee that you deserve, there's always you're going to find the right customer as well.
absolutely.
Let's look at it the other way around. And for people to adopt cryptos and giving them money to adopt cryptos, I don't know. Like, how cool is that? And why is it that such companies are not running any more promotional campaigns and luring users by giving them 15, 20, 30, 5 USDT rewards?
Agreed.
If
Agreed.
they believe in crypto adoption,
Yeah.
is
Agreed.
it only in bull run we think about crypto adoption?
Agreed, agreed. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I think I agree to your point that it makes more sense to be profitable rather than running after investor money, because at the end of the day, if you're creating value, you will get those valuations.
Is that your opinion as well? Because you have a very
Abs-
strong financial background. Like, would you run after if you're an investor? I know you would be looking at profitability more, but as a company, what would you do? Like, just
abs-
out of curiosity.
So absolutely, I agree that being profitable or being creating that value is more important than going after valuations for sure. So I understand and I know a lot of companies who are maybe bootstrap, maybe doing at a very small scale, but they are highly profitable. For example, in India, and obviously you are from Delhi, would have already obviously heard about this company called Zerodha, right? The
Yeah,
Kamat brothers. They are India's leading brokerage house, right? The company has not raised a single fund till date, entirely profitable in the last 12 years. And they are, if they go to raise funds today, they'll be probably having billions of dollars in valuations, but still they won't do that because they are run on their own. They are highly cash rich, and they have 13 years of cash in hand as per current date, right? So they have
correct.
that much cash to run for 13 years. So I
Yeah,
think those companies create more value rather than people just running after valuation, showing crazy maybe ARR numbers or crazy users or whatever.
correct. See, at some stage, I'm not saying you don't need the VC funding. Of course, you need VC funding, but as I was saying, like, what is the objective? I'm not against
Mhm.
VC funding, but I'm against the burn rate a company generally
Right.
has, what the value they
Correct.
bring in. That is my
Mhm.
concern because the VCs bring their network, they bring other ecosystems that you can easily work with. So I think the objective should be even for companies when they are raising money to raise money from those companies, those VC funds that can add value to their ecosystem or can help them
Understood.
grow. It shouldn't the sole purpose shouldn't be just money coming in.
Understood. Yeah, yeah, fair enough. I think I can go on this conversation for a long time, but we're just
Yeah,
being mindful of your time,
sure.
Shantanu.
No worries.
I have just a couple of questions from the community, but I think these are more on automation, so I'll just sum it up and club it into one question. The question goes like this: what are the challenges which are faced in automating in the blockchain industries? And what do you think are the pros and cons of maybe automation?
Of course, we know the pros and cons of automation. The pros are the user gets the speed, it increases efficiency, like you are able to have more happy, more much bigger user base. And of course, the challenges are the chance of error in our business is very slim.
Right.
Recently, about one of the crypto companies I was reading about, I think Crypto.com or somebody, where a
Hmm.
user by mistakenly was given $10 million, $6 million, I think, into their account. Am I right? I think it
Right.
was Crypto.com. So I'm not saying, I think there was a manual process as well, but automation to a larger extent, probably what we should probably look at is a hybrid model, a mix
Mhm.
of automation and a mix of manual processes, where there is important functions where something is going out of your ecosystem definitely has to be checked by different people. And especially even in the traditional world of finance, you must have seen, like, even when you record an entry, you are also looking at a cross effect of
Right.
what that entry is going to do. So maybe we should have more processes in place, even if you want to automate things. And of course, in today's time, everything can be done via APIs. But any important function where you have to have an important thing, you need to click a button or something.
Understood. Understood. And what's the need of customization here? Do you think if these things are customized, it can help a lot?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the companies, you know, where I was an advisor, what I always realized with them is they are still among the one of the top companies in the crypto space. I mean, a decent known name. They always thought about the users first, and sometimes they even rewarded users for the feedback, because I feel that customization is very, very important, and the user is the best person who can find out the areas where you need to improve upon. And therefore customization, of course, plays an important role, not just from the user's perspective, but also for companies who are using it. I mean, the front end and the back end. So tomorrow, if we have to think about customization, I will not just think from the user point of view, but also from the partner's point of view as well. How can we
Understood.
customize and make things make available to our partners in a better way?
Understood. I think a good, just to iterate to what you said in terms of maybe customization, what we suggest and we maybe probably have done for all or majority of our clients is when it comes to a cold wallet solution, right? We don't kind of tell them that go for an MPC based wallet. I would suggest that if it's a cold wallet, then you just do a multi-sig and use a Trezor or a Ledger to store your
Yeah.
assets. But if you have a hot wallet which are online and there are a lot of transactions happening to and fro in
Mhm.
minutes, you probably can go for an MPC based solution, which is a faster way, a newer way, much better maybe technology, but that really helps to run things faster. So you can divide your customizations in such a way so that
Right.
it helps the users as well. I hope that makes sense. I had a great time conversing with you. So thank you so much for taking time out and having a conversation. And I think it would be great to talk to you offline on this entire space,
Sure.
maybe space on the valuation side. But thanks for joining us, Shantanu. It was great to have you, and there I personally learned a lot from your experience and knowledge. So yeah, thank you, and I hope to have you again on our show sometime very soon.
Thank you very much. It was indeed a great pleasure of mine to be interacting with you. And thank you to the whole team at Liminal. You guys have built a solid and a brilliant ecosystem, which I think can not just be used by, and a company like Encryptus is a beautiful example that it shows it's not just meant for large organizations, it's also meant for medium to small organizations as well. Even if somebody is in a bootstrap mode and they're trying to build up from there, I think it's a great way for projects to scale up. Liminal was extremely helpful and really supported us from the day one. So thank you, in fact, to the whole Liminal team.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Shantanu. I hope we can keep delivering the same value to everyone who's onboarding on our platform. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
Have
Thank
have a
you.
good day. Bye, bye,
You too.
Shantanu.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks.
Hey guys, so if you enjoyed this show, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel down below and obviously visit our website, which is also linked down in the description below. See you soon for the next episode. Have a wonderful day. See you. Bye bye.